Hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're joining from. Thank you for being here. Welcome, welcome. So we've got all sorts of stuff to talk about today, as always, but of course, feel free to drop in your questions at any point in the chat. We're here to just hang out and chat about live streaming, ATEM Minis, Yoloboxes, whatever you want to talk about. So yeah, if you start your message with the letter Q, it makes it a little bit easier for me to spot throughout the morning. And yeah, we will take a look at the chat, and sometimes I make it all the way through the chat, sometimes I don't. So we'll see how it goes. Welcome, welcome. So we've got, yeah, the map is fun. It makes a couple of mistakes because it tries to figure out what you're talking about based in the entire world based on whatever you enter. So usually it gets things like an actual place name with a country correct, but oh, and it did get Big Apple. Nice. That's great. It probably didn't get this one right because of the emojis. Welcome, welcome. Thanks for joining. Looks like we have a few new folks here. Pixel Studio Audio Visual from Argentina. My dad was born in Argentina. Alan from Brussels and Uli from Germany. Welcome, welcome. We are going to talk about the contest winners shortly. I think I've got them all queued up on my screen here. Hopefully I did that right. The contest ended on Friday. Oh, am I using a new mic? No. You know what probably happened though? Is probably my table microphone is also on. Yeah, sure enough. The other microphone at the table was on. There we go. That should have cut out the other mic picking me up. Wow, another Australia welcome. That's very far away. Isn't it like really early in the morning? I always forget how that works when you're on the west coast of Australia. Yeah, or late at night, I guess. So the contest was ended on Friday, and the goal of that contest was to take a picture of your ATEM or Yolobox streaming rig with a PK1 case, and there'll be a few winners, and the winners are going to get, I do have this with me, one of these new coverly covers from NX3D, which fit nicely on the stand. And then you can not accidentally press fade to black. And yeah, so pretty cool acrylic cover. You the grand prize winner will get one custom printed with your logo, and they also come in just blanks. And yeah, we'll announce those winners in a little bit, but I want to make sure we get to some of these questions before I get too far behind. So yeah. 2 a.m. in Western Australia. That's not too bad. That's the middle of the night for me, but I know some people stay up late. Okay, so the questions are coming in. Make sure you put them with the letter Q in front, but I will try to get to some of these in the chat before they get too far back in the scroll. Have I used AVMatrix switchers? I actually have a video about one that I did a while ago. It is, there's a few different versions of them. The one I did was the 6 input, 4 input. Oh my gosh, I can't remember. It was a while ago. It was over a year ago. I'll drop the link in the channel though. This was HVS040U. HVS040U2. Even worse naming than Blackmagic. It looks similar to an ATEM Mini at first, but it's got a lot more buttons than the base ATEM Mini. I think that it is absolutely great if you need the extra features that it has that the ATEM Mini doesn't. And that was what the whole video was about. Like, what can this do that the ATEM Mini can't? And there are a few things, but I don't use it in my studio because I rely on being able to automate it with software. So all of my devices in here I can control through the Stream Deck on my desk. So I can, push the buttons to do a bunch of different things, all these different devices all at the same time. And that is very critical. Otherwise I would not be able to do all this. Speaking of which, I actually need to fix something in Companion. Let's just do that right now. I'm just trying to make sure there's nothing on my screen that's going to give anything away. No, okay. This is what my Companion config looks like. Oh, also, fun little bug I encountered this morning. So I came here this morning about an hour ago to start setting up, and I was going through my Companion config. This is my homepage that these are all links out to different pages. And I was like, wait, I feel like I had a button for the Ultimatte on here before. Where did it go? And it wasn't there. And I was like, I swear I made that on Friday when I was here messing with the green screening. And it was just gone. And I was like, this makes no sense. How could it just disappear? And I started looking through the pages, and the page that it was on was had different stuff on it. And I was like, this doesn't make any sense. What in the world is going on? And I, a long time ago, I want to say almost a year ago at this point, I wrote a little tool that backs up my companion config. So you know how there's this export button? You can export the full configuration. So do this, absolutely do this if you have stuff set up in your companion. And what this does is it just gives you a big file full of everything, every page in your companion config. And but the trick is that if you look at this button, all it is, look down at the bottom left of my screen. It's just a URL. So you can actually take this link and then download it from code or scripts. So I just have a cron job every night that runs and downloads that and saves it as a file, which is named after the date. So if you look at all these snapshots, every day looks like something happened on the 5th that made it fail. I think my VPN was down because I was moving the stuff around in the office. So every day it just downloads a snapshot, and most of the time it's the same. Whatever, these are tiny files, right? Less than a megabyte each, so I don't really care about disk space. And then you can see when I start adding stuff, it'll get bigger. And then all of a sudden, so that was Friday, the 18th, and I was, changing things around. I did make changes, so I expected that. And then all of a sudden, this one is only 480 kilobytes. And I was like, what is going on? Something happened that this morning's snapshot was significantly smaller. And then I was like, what could it be? And I looked in the log here, and it said my disk on the Raspberry Pi was full, and the drive had filled up on the Raspberry Pi, so it wasn't able to save any changes in Companion itself. So as it tries to snapshot this to disk, it failed. So I guess somehow maybe that crashed Companion and then it rebooted and it loaded the old config. So it was like none of my changes had saved. So that includes the whole page I set up here for like doing the showing you the different scenes of the Ultimatte, which I did last week. None of that was there, but thankfully I had a backup. I was able to restore from the backup on my server, and now I have the pages back. So moral of the story is always back up, but also why was the drive filling up? And it turns out it's because my poor Raspberry Pi is look at this. Where is it? This one. It's just getting spewed with log messages. Look how many per second are coming in. And this is a bug with the Constellation switcher, which is sending these multi-viewer config messages to any connected client way too much. So Companion's connected and it's just getting these messages from the ATEM constantly. And it's a bug. Apparently Blackmagic knows about it. Adam from who made MixEffect encountered this also, and he had to work around it in MixEffect. He told Blackmagic about it. They're hopefully working on a fix for it, but it hasn't shipped yet. In the meantime, Companion's busy logging all these messages, which then fills up the drive, and the file is right now, oh my god, it's so big I can't even do the math in my head. 17 gigs of log messages. So I've set it up to rotate the log file every day, and that should hopefully clean it up a bit. Companion should fix that, at least ignore those messages and not log them all, but Blackmagic should really fix at the root of it. Yeah, so that is, that's, the Companion can make a sort of half fix for it, but really Blackmagic should fix it. I think this, Eric says, I remember you having issues before, and I'm pretty sure it was the same thing. So, yeah. Am I running the video through the Ultimatte today? Is there a green screen behind me? There is one behind me on the floor, but I am not green screened right now. This is the actual wall. But I do plan on pulling it out again because I have some more things to share. Log rotation is default on the Raspberry Pi, but its default is 7 days, rotating weekly and keeping 7 snapshots. And then that's too much. Like that fills up the disk because one of these files is like 18 gigs. And then it tries to zip it, but that's just too much. So it filled up the drive. So yeah, good times, good times. So, okay. that was my companion. So, oh yeah, what I actually wanted to do was, I mentioned last week and I forgot to do it. The way that I saw the map on the screen before, right? And the map comes from the same thing that I use to show chat messages, which is the OBS. So it'll appear in here, and OBS outputs key and fill 2 channels into the ATEM for doing the good overlays. This works because the chat is a web page, and the map I put in that same web page. So it's just part of the same website, which works. But the problem is when I start the show, I want the little transition thing to run over top. And this is brought in as a downstream key because as a downstream key, that's how I show the chat messages, right? So or stuff like this. That's in the web page. If I go to OBS, you'll see it in the web page. And that's downstream, which means as I'm changing angles or doing transitions, the downstream key is on top of all those things. I think I lost my layer image. I used to have it in the media pool for this, but picture like 3 layers. Your bottom layer is your video sources, your middle layers are your upstream keys, and your top layers are the downstream keys. And upstream key, or the middle layer, is also where the transitions happen. So like the sting transition that I'm using here. And that means when the map is on the screen and I want to do the stinger transition to my camera, it's underneath the map. And the stinger, you don't see the stinger until the map goes away. And that doesn't really work. So what I did at the last second, because the transition did work this morning, but I did it manually, and now I want to automate it. So what I want to do is when I switch to the map, instead of using it as a downstream key, I want to actually cut to it. So that's in the Ultra Studio fill. So if I cut to this, you'll see that message, right? And I want that to be the video source, not a downstream key anymore. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to, I have this button here, which is the map. And right now, all it does is it tells the web page to show the map. And that is downstream, so it's on top of everything. So I'm going to change this to, I'm going to give it like a second for that map to load. Otherwise, we might see a gap because it's not always instant. The web page is sometimes slow. But what I want to do is change the program source on the Constellation. I'm going to wait like 5 seconds. And I'm going to change it to the Ultra Studio fill. Then I'm going to remove the downstream key. So downstream key on air. Let's use the relative delays so that this runs right after that. We'll give it another half second. And it's going to be off, and that's downstream key 3. So now when I go from the pre-roll to the map, it's going to actually change camera angles rather than using the downstream key. So that's where the countdown timer is too. I forgot to mention that. The countdown timer is also part of that web page. It's all part of the web page. Then this button, this should actually be now called desk. When I want to actually start the show, what this does is it tells the website to remove the map, which doesn't happen instantly, which is part of the problem. We're going to do stinger transition. We're going to preview the desk camera. I just realized you're not even looking at my screen. Jeez. Did I have the entire, was the computer not on the screen the entire time through that? Well, for this, in case that was the case, I'm just going to scroll through this really quick. My map action. When did I cut back to the desk camera? I don't know what happened. Oh my God. Okay. So here's what I just did is I made a 5-second delay to change the program to the Ultra Studio, which is the graphics, and then wait half a second, turn off the downstream key. Then my start button is going to configure the stinger, configure, preview the desk camera. We're going to, that should already be off, so I don't need that, but it's not going to hurt anything to have it in there. And then this is the button that runs the stinger. Unmute the desk microphone, and then wait 6 seconds and bring the downstream key back on air. I can probably shorten that now. I did 6 seconds just now because I didn't know how the timing was going to work out, but we can shorten that down to like, let's say 2. So this should work. Now, the other thing I'm going to do in my pre-roll is mute the other microphone, because I don't want the table microphone to be left on. So input mix, yeah, input mix option on the table camera, we're going to turn that off. So hopefully that means that microphone was on during the pre-show, which hopefully I didn't say anything out loud. So that should work now. Should we test it? Start the show over. Let's do it. So I'm going to skip through the stages of this really quick. We're going to do the pre-roll. So you'll see the countdown again. I'm going to change it to 10 seconds left, and then 5 seconds left. I have a button for that. Pre-roll, show the map, 5 seconds left, start, and then that should all work. So here we go. Cross your fingers. There we go. Okay, I just realized that the delay I had in there was, I didn't think 5 seconds was enough to let the downstream key kick in. So, but it worked. So you saw the stinger run on top of the map, and the chat should be back here now. So, yep. So the downstream key is back on. Now my show works again. And the Raspberry Pi drive is not full anymore. So hopefully this should actually save and be there next time it reboots. So that was fun. Okay. Let's go through the questions that have been stacking up here real quick. Rob says, have you had experience with the sound from a Mac via the Blackmagic Mini converter, and ATEM Mini Extreme is not there until the ATEM is on first? Oh, that's weird. If the ATEM is not on, I haven't had this happen because I leave my ATEMs on all the time. So yeah. Don't know what to say there. Deciphering my experiences, have you tried the HyperDeck shuttle? I have a very little bit. Haven't. It's set up, but it's at Lily's studio at home, and I should probably actually just swap it for one of mine that I have here, because it's just in the corner. It's not like out on the desk, so we're not really using it for the big knob on the top. I wonder what I could do with it. Yeah, I should swap it for one of my HyperDecks here. She does use it for playing out the video clips and stuff for her show, but just as well, it would work just as well with the rack mount HyperDeck. We're not doing anything with it that requires the shuttle feature. So yeah, I played with it a little bit just to test it out before I put it there, and I should probably bring it over here so I can actually use it properly. Jules says the Yolobox Pro splits up a recording videos when they're long. Is there a way to avoid and get the video recorded in one file? I don't think so. I think it's, I think it will, oh wait, no, there are settings to change how long it will break it up, but I don't think there's a setting for don't break it up at all. In that screen, it's in the settings screen, buried deep in the recording settings. You can change how big you want those files to be, but there's a warning there, which is basically if something goes wrong, like if the battery runs out and it doesn't get a chance to save it, then it will lose whatever recording's in progress. So the smaller the files, the less chance you have of something getting lost. So Mark says, I'll be doing a large live stream at my work office building. I'll be doing a remote cam in the building involving a second ATEM streaming back to my broadcast room. Is there a second part? Oh, there it is. What is the best solution for, is this the same question? What's the best solution for recalling and playing videos on the ATEM? For example, commercials. There's a couple different options. This is a good video idea. I'm going to make a note of this so I don't forget. Video playback options. So I would say the hyperdeck is an option. So any of the hyperdeck models where you can actually connect them to the ATEM itself. So I don't think I have mine connected right now. Yeah. But you can also control it from Companion. And I like the hyperdeck because it is able to be controlled. So if I go look at my, somewhere in here, I have something that loads up a clip, I'm sure. Do I actually, I've been moving stuff around. I must have something. Here's one. Oh, it's all deleted. So I should be able to just make it really quick here. So if you go look at the hyperdeck, there's like this go to clip. So you can actually navigate to one of the clips on your SD card by name, which is more convenient than just by index or something. And this is great because you can control it from Companion. You can also set up your ATEM to tell it to play when it goes on air, which is useful. So it's useful for like the really precise timings of things. The trick with the hyperdeck is that it's very, very picky about formats of videos that you're uploading to it. Extremely picky. Like you have to get it exactly right. All your clips have to be exactly the same. So it's not very easy to use, but it does work well. Another option, which is another option is called Live App, and this is a iPad app where you load up your video clips into these playlists, and this is anything your iPad can play. So there's no, like, you don't have to worry about formats anymore, right? As long as your iPad can play it, it'll be on here. And then this will, when you queue these up, this will also talk to the ATEM, and it will know when it's on the air. And when you cut to the input that this is plugged into, then it'll start playing the clip. And you can also have it do something at the end. Where is that? Switcher action at the end. I don't know if you can see it, it's kind of small. But you can actually tell it to cut back to the preview or a specific source. So you can say, after this clip is done, switch back to input 2. So here, let's see, this is connected here. If I AirPlay this, we can get it into today's stream. And there it is on the Apple TV. So I have to tell it what input it is connected to. Which is my Apple TV? That's an interesting question. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Input 6. Oh, it was already set up for that. So it knows that the iPad is plugged into input 6 on the ATEM. So if I go back here, I think I've got this all set up, right? Let's find out. If I switch over to input 6, you should see this clip play. Let me pick a shorter one. Here. 8-second clip, and then at the end of that, it should cut back to input 2. Let's find out if this works. There it goes. So it's playing the clip 3, 4, 5. My hands are off of the keyboard, I promise. And hopefully, oh, I know what happened. No, it didn't cut back. I don't know why I did that. Cut auto. I'm missing a setting somewhere. I forgot how to do this. There is a... Okay, I'm on that playlist. Switcher action at the end. Did I just... Oh, I set it up on the wrong... I forgot. The action that happens at the end is set on the playlist, of course. And I had set up that playlist, and then I played this playlist. So yeah. Also, it's telling you, wait, this is not a zoom lens. That's not going to work. You can't really see it because the exposure is not good on this angle. But down at the bottom here, it actually tells me what is going to happen at the end. So it's going to change back to the desk camera and pause. So let's do it one more time. Back to here. Should start. Oh my God. Oh, it was... Okay. Well, my demo was not doing as well as I hoped. It was at the end of the clip, so it was already done. So it thought it had already played that. So let's try this one more time. Go. There we go. Playing the clip out. I know how this stuff works. This, cross your fingers, should cut back to the desk camera. Oh, it ran the transition and went back to the desk camera. Hands off. So that worked. Just gotta remember how to tell what state the app is in. Anyway, that was a little demo of Live App, which is another good option for playing back clips. And then what else? Oh, there's if you want a computer-based solution, there's tons of options. So PlayOutB works on a Raspberry Pi or on a computer of some sort. There's a lot of other like special apps. MIDI is one, MITTI, video playback software. I haven't actually used it though, but I will also link to this page I have on the website about other apps that are useful for video production. So here's the link to Live App. You can find it on this page. And those are, you can use OBS, you can use Ecamm also, but I think these are pretty good solutions once you figure out all the right buttons. Unplanned live demo. Another vote for PlayOutB here. PlayOutB tries to emulate being a hyperdeck, so yeah. Oh, Mark says the second part was, is there a way to view the multi-view? Okay, there was, oh, that was a separate question, I see. So back to this other question. Live stream at the work office, remote cam, second ATEM streaming back to the broadcast room. Is there a way to view the multi-view? Right, it makes sense. Not directly, you're gonna need another piece of gear. So let me see if I can find one. There's a bunch of different options that will all work just fine. This is one that I use, and there are a bunch that look just like this, or that have the same, roughly the same feature set. So this is the DDMALL encoder. Oh, it's not on this link on Amazon anymore. I bought it too long ago. But if you search for DDMALL, you'll find similar things. Here's wireless one. I didn't get the wireless one. I like the port. There's other ones like that too, and they all basically work by having a little web page that that you can load up to. Where is mine? Here it is. So yeah, here's another one. This is a different one. Is it just admin? Yeah. It's in Chinese. So this is Lily getting ready for her show, and this is the ATEM Mini Extreme at home. So that HDMI port's plugged into this little encoder, and this will let you. You can see a little preview here, which is obviously not great because it's like snapshots, but it gives you these RTSP streams. So where is it? This one. So if I load this URL, oops, in VLC or anything, then we should see the multi-view.
I love this song.
Oh, and we don't need to listen to the sound. So yeah, that's the live multi-view from the ATEM at home. I'm going to try to find the link to this particular one, but they're all basically the same idea. But that's what you need, is you need some sort of other encoder to grab the HDMI out of the ATEM and encode it. And I use VLC just to pull it up on a computer. I think that one came from AliExpress. Let's see. And that one thinks I'm thinks it's Spanish. That's interesting. I don't know if I can find this link fast enough. But yeah, you get the idea. Look for RTSP encoder. That's the name to look for. Oh, yeah, here it is. This one's cheaper than the DDMALL also. Cool. Grant says, I missed the stream. Oh, the last week's stream. What was I using for the green screen itself? I have the Elgato Green Screen. That is the one that that's the one that collapses down into the floor. I like it a lot. I think it's great. It's nice that it's just totally out of the way and I can just pull it up, which I'll do in a second here. Question from Mark here. I have the original ATEM Mini. Is it worth upgrading to the Pro? I don't need to stream from it, but would like multiview. If you think multiview would be helpful for you, then I think that's a fantastic upgrade. It's $500 now instead of $600 when it launched. And the other thing that you'll get is recording to a hard drive. So if you don't care about streaming, but you may want to record, then you can also plug in a drive into the USB port. I do think it's a good upgrade. The multiview is really useful for sure. Yeah. Question from TimeLink Media. How do you officially upload 1080p resolution videos to Facebook? Oh, Facebook. I have no idea. I don't use Facebook. Zero clue. Sorry. Lit 2021. Can you recommend a service that would enable me to sell tickets and provide a paywall for the stream? I really need to do a better job of having a good sense of the landscape here. So one of the ones that I've been playing around with because it's from YOLO Live is called YOLOcast. And this is, I don't think they have the ticketing part, but they have the password login based stuff. So where is it? Stream privately, passwords on the stream, but I don't think they have any ticketing, like actual ticket sales part of it. But I'm sure a lot of other people in the chat here will chime in with their suggestions. Did I see that the green screen is available in a wider format? I didn't. It would be useful. That would be handy. I'll show you why, because at the distance my camera is at, does not, there's stuff at the edges that, yeah. Bailey says the DDMALL is $520 to buy in Australia, $520 Australian dollars, because that's like a lot less. But yeah, that one's really expensive for some reason. I don't know why. Yeah. The music was much louder than my voice. Uh-oh. My levels messed up again. Oh, I do look a little bit quiet today. I wonder what happened. I wonder, I'm on the right mic, right? Yeah. I don't know why I'm quieter today. I'll have to figure that out later. Is it true that there's no variable for the fader gain value of the master fader to show in a stream deck button? Ooh. That's an interesting one. Double check that you're on the latest version of Companion because they do add stuff like that, but we can see really quick. Do we have a variable for the, where's my Constellation? Let's see, gain, audio input. What about, oh, wow, there's too many. Let's look for the smaller one, ATEM SDI. Variable, ATEM SDI, fader. Yeah, it's just the inputs. Interesting. Gain, only talking about inputs. I never noticed that. Yeah, looks like it. And I'm only one version behind. So yeah, good feature request for them though. You could use it for both. Oh, this was about the HyperDeck shuttle for playing back video and as a teleprompter setup. Yeah, so we don't use a teleprompter for the House Files show. We usually have show notes, rough outline written down. Sometimes you'll see the iPad on the screen for that. I think it's fine. It's a podcast setting, so it makes sense. But I do use a teleprompter for the videos I record on this channel. And it would be, yeah, right now I've been using an app, Teleprompter Pro or something, generic name on my phone. And I load it on my phone and I AirPlay my phone to the Apple TV. And then it shows up on the teleprompter, and that works really well. But yeah, it'd be really interesting to see if it works better with the shuttle controls. It is hard to adjust the speed on that app, which is one thing I don't like. So yeah, I should give it a shot. Okay, I'm gonna swap those. I think I don't need anything. I don't think I'm using the oldest HyperDeck here anymore because I put my Stinger into the ATEM itself. So yeah, try searching master or program. I assume that would have active input on program. Yeah, no, nothing there. Do I miss the extreme buttons? You know, not really, because even when I had this extreme running this show, I never touched the buttons. I had it on this desk for a little while and I would never touch the buttons. And then I actually put it on the front of the rack. I like mounted it to the front of the rack. So it was just totally out of reach. And no, I don't miss them. The only times I'm tempted to use the buttons, not for switching between inputs, because usually I want to do more than one thing at a time. So it'll be like switch input and turn off a key, right? And I don't want to like have to go boom at the same time. One thing I did use it for more often was actually this section over here, changing what goes on the HDMI out. Because if I want to like see my multi-view, and then I want to see a close-up of a camera to check focus, that's really handy to be able to quickly change back and forth. That's the only thing I'll say I missed. I've never used these buttons ever. Select bus, ever. I don't have any Blackmagic cameras anymore, so I don't use these buttons. The macro buttons, I'm glad they added that. And it would have come in handy if I hadn't moved all of my show automation into Companion. So yeah. Oh, you know what? I do remember I was actually pressing the on-air, off-air, and record buttons. But now everything just goes through Companion because it's easier. Does the ATEM Mini Extreme have phantom power for condenser mics on the audio inputs? No, not at all. Nope. There is it can't run a condenser mic. There is an option on the audio input to do, where is it? Oh, it may not be in this one. Let me go to the Mini. There is a plug-in power option for microphones, but it's not going to let you use like, it's not phantom power, and it's definitely not going to let you use like the big broadcast microphones. So I don't actually think I've ever had a small microphone that required power, now that I think about it. Yeah. Have I ever used the Sting button, says Graham. Nobody's ever used the Sting button. Yeah, the Extreme can get very confusing with the amount of buttons. I totally agree. There's just too much going on. And that's why I like making these companion pages that are more specialized with only the buttons I'm going to use during a show. Yes, this will be 5 volt in the 3mm jack, 3.5mm jack, not phantom power. My EV adventures. Last week you showed how to change the output from an ATEM to a screen with companion. I managed to replicate this to change from multi-view to program. However, I want to change a second output to show the other view from the big screen with the toggle action, but could not find out how to do it. I simply added second action, did not work. Oh, I'm not sure I understand what's going on. What did I show? Changing the ATEM to a screen. Output from an ATEM. Okay. Yeah. Multiview to program. I want to change the second output to show the other view from the big screen. With the toggle action. Oh, toggling. Toggle actions should work. Let's see. I've never done it with a toggle, but if I wanted to make a button to change what's on this monitor between multiview and program, for example, then we should be able to do it with a toggle, right? We should be able to do aux set, which one is this? Output side monitor 7. So aux 7 will be multiview, and then on the unlatch, then we should be able to switch it to the ME. ME1. There we go. And then this should, yeah, that's working. Cool. Where's my, here, you can see it over here. So I can just toggle back and forth with that. And if I press it, it goes back and forth. Is that what you meant? I'm not sure. If not, I'm sorry, but that was a fun little demo anyway. Keith says, I use the Matrix all the time for focus and getting the live show ready, record and live button all the time. Totally. I think those are the ones those are the same ones I use most often. Yep. Carl says, have you hit the like button? Very good question. Or halfway through. If you haven't hit the like yet and you're still watching, you should hit the like button. With everything on the 4ME, do you have any inputs copied to the smaller ATEMs for demo purposes? Absolutely. One of the main reasons I got the 4ME. I have 4 of the outputs here going into the ATEM Mini ISO, which I use for recording, if I want to do 4-channel recording. But I also have, I just wired these up. Patch 1, 2, 3, and 4. These are actually ports on the front of my rack where I have cables that run out to the table so I can plug them into switchers on the table. So now, this was like the main reason I just kept escalating, starting with the SDI Matrix. Because I want to record, you know, a multicam video from a few different angles, showing something on the desk. That thing on the desk, whether it's an ATEM Mini or Yolobox or AVMatrix or whatever it is, that I want video sources going into, so it's not just boring black sources. So I have copies of all the cameras running into that device on the table so I can actually capture them. And like I said, most people don't need that many outputs and inputs because most people are not trying to record multi-track of using a multi-channel switcher. Most of the time you're like recording like actual content, like a podcast or something. So that's kind of why this has kept escalating. Oh, Greg, thank you for the super chat. Coffee and donut support. I appreciate it. I do need some coffee. I forgot that I opened up my coffee and I've barely drank any of it. Okay, we're gonna get through a couple more questions and then I want to show some green screen demo again. From Koala20, what's the minimum requirement for an iPad to run apps similar to yours? What gen and hard drive size would you recommend? Oh, good question. This one that I have is the ATEM iPad mini iPad. The last gen, it's not the newest. It was the first. I remember what it was. It was the first iPad mini they launched with like the new round of chips, because they had left it, they had abandoned it for many years. I believe I went for the 256 gigabyte version, not the 64. There's only 2 different options for the mini, And this has been fantastic. So yeah, I don't remember what, I don't remember if there's a second version of this now, or is this still the same one? It's so hard to keep track of all their launches. It's A15, so what does that make it? Mine is, they call it 6th generation, but they don't tell you what generation's on the website. Very helpful. I have the iPad 6th generation, and then I have a couple other ones that I use for other things. I believe they are 9th gen or possibly 8th gen iPads, regular iPads. I don't have any of the new ones up here yet. If you're gonna get one, like, you can definitely get a used one and use them pretty well for most of the stuff. If you're doing, so another feature of Live app is the, where's it? Overlay settings, which actually lets you load in a web page to output graphics on, which is I've used on the road to do graphics like my chat into a portable device. That means you're going to want to make sure you get one that's a little bit newer because it's going to have more CPU to render the web page, and it'll make sure that it gets updates for Safari for longer, because you don't want to be running an outdated version of Safari, because then stuff will just start breaking. But I'm pretty sure any of the current generation will be absolutely fine, and probably a couple generations back will be fine also. Just the one thing to look for is make sure you're not buying one that is already not getting OS updates, because they do support pretty far back in OS updates, but make sure you're not getting one that is currently not getting the latest update OS. So that's what I would look for. But yeah, you don't need the latest and greatest M2 chips and all that for this stuff. Am I considering releasing my companion profile? No, I don't think it'd be very useful, honestly. I have not built mine in such a way that is really reusable. There's a couple of things that could be reusable on it. Mostly the, where is it? SuperSource. But, so let's see, starting on 33. Nope, that's not the one I wanted. This one. This is not actually working right now, but there's 4 SuperSource boxes on the ATEM Mini Extreme, and I made these pages to be able to quickly configure them. So this page will let you choose which box to configure, and then that jumps you to page 14, which then has these, which is, it's not connected, so it's not showing the inputs, but these are the 8 inputs, and there's the enabled on-off. I was experimenting with this, which is shifting the box left and right a little bit, because, or not the box, shifting the content left and right, which is something that I often want to do. Like, actually right now I'm kind of not centered in this box, right? And if I wanted to fix it, what I have to do is change 2 things. So box 2 is my camera. If I wanted to move, let's see, if I'm over here, then and I want myself in the middle, I have to change the position, right? But also the crop. And this is way too complicated to do manually, even if I wasn't on the air. If I was able to do this, oh, I'm going the wrong way. See? Perfect example of why this is just a nightmare to try to do by hand. Where is my right crop? At some point we're gonna find it. Oh my gosh. 8? No. 9? No. 10? There we go. So, good example. Now I'm centered, right? So what I wanted to do was make a button that would do both of those at the same time. So it would change the position and then change the crops to offset. So I could have a button that would just like shift the content around. I was trying, I didn't get very far with that. I don't even remember if this worked. SuperSource properties Delta. SuperSource, oh, they changed it. Offset box properties. So I can offset the, let's try it. box 2. I can offset the X by 5 and crop the, what did I do? I moved plus, let's go +1. So +1 on the X, and then we need to crop left -1. Hopefully these are the same units, and crop right +1. And then, does this work? Let's find out. No. Yeah, I think maybe my crop numbers are too small. -1. Yeah, the units aren't the same for some reason. So anyway, this is the only thing in here that is like even remotely useful. Just these layouts. Other than that, like this stuff, nobody else needs these buttons. These are all like specially chosen for what layout my multi-view is in and which inputs I have. Here's like controlling my website and stuff. Here's like the music that plays, but nobody even has that. Anyway, I don't think it's terribly useful. David Joshua Ford has some very good presets that actually are more like actual package of reusable companion profiles. So I'll just link to his because you should just buy his instead. Yes, all my SuperSource stuff in MixEffect. It is so much easier than the Blackmagic software for sure. Do I think, from Greg, do I think Blackmagic will add longer delay for the analog audio input beyond 8 frames? Probably not. I don't think, honestly, there's not a lot of, if you need delay longer than that, something else is wrong. And I would try to actually get it so that you don't need more than 8 frames. That's kind of a lot. VKR Tube says, I have the ATEM Mini Pro. Multiview comes at the price of sacrificing program out, correct? Yes. There's one HDMI out on the ATEM Mini Pro, which you can use for either multiview or full screen on one of your inputs or program. But the ATEM Mini Pro can also send the program out of the streaming and into a hard drive or over USB. So that's kind of the trade-off you have to make, is like, which of those do you want? But this is, I wish they had just put 2 HDMIs in the original ATEM Mini because it is super useful to be able to have those 2. And actually the ATEM Mini Pro SDI does have 2 outs. So I guess there was enough room for it on that. I don't know why they added it on that one, but it's great because yeah, it is really handy. I'm new to this and have Yolobox Pro. I love it. I haven't gone live yet, only using it in monitor mode. When I'm ready to go live, is it worth getting a subscription to Yolocast? If you're just going live to YouTube, don't bother with Yolocast. Like it can go to YouTube directly, just fine. Yolocast is like a whole other thing for a whole bunch more features, multi-streaming platforms. You can like do password protected live streams and stuff like that. So if you're just going to YouTube or Facebook, just do it directly. Why don't I just use MixEffect? Okay, or we're gonna have to try this on MixEffect, just so that we can. Where is it? This one. Okay, here is my super source. Can I do what I want in MixEffect? It's at least easier to change the values, so I can go like that. But I want to change me relative. I want to keep the box in the same spot and move the content. So I don't think it's possible because this is easier version of the same controls in Blackmagic software, right? I can change this easier, definitely easier to just slide this around, but I still have to do these at 2 separate actions, right? If I want to get that box back to where it was. So I want to keep the outline there, and then I want to move myself back into the middle. So I want to keep the box where it is, but I can't because I can only move the box. That makes sense? So I want to, like, this is what I'm trying to do, is to get it back to this, which is definitely easier using MixEffect. But wouldn't it be cool if there was a slider in here that was like shift the content of the super source box, but leave the frame where it is, right? Yeah. Yep. Feature request for ATEM. It would be very cool. And yes, ATEM is very responsive to suggestions. Ask him to make an update. Oh, and it works on the Mac Mini M1. That's funny. I've never even installed it on my M1 Macs yet. I should probably do that. Tell Adam, I'm sure he'll pick it up. I will. I feel bad because I've asked him for an awful lot of features. Speaking of, one of the ones that I just used quite successfully on the ATEM Mini Pro that's upstairs is the video follows audio feature. So this is how I just did. Oh, speaking of, I should drop this link to the MixEffect, so that gets in the timestamp here, since we're talking about MixEffect. So the House Files channel, if you're not following this, you should, by the way. We are doing podcasts about the process of building out this triplex, picking 3 of everything, 3 sinks, 3 toilets, actually 6 toilets. It's a lot of toilets. It's really weird when you have to choose 6 toilets to buy. Anyway, so we were filming this at home. If you look, let's see, this was just our living room at home, and we tried to decorate it to make it look like a podcast set, which was mildly successful. Oh, that one we did at the studio here. But the latest one is in an actual permanently installed set now. So the ones we did at home, it was like, okay, time to grab the light stand out, time to grab tripods and wire up the microphones, and that whole process, which was just getting really annoying. So what we did was set up a podcast set, which is upstairs for me right now. And this is in a corner. So we put up wallpaper on one of the walls to make it look more interesting than just a plain background. But this one that we filmed, all the cutting that's happening is using MixEffect. So I didn't have to do any switching myself for this. It was just all auto switching. And that's using the video follows audio feature in MixEffect. So it watches the microphone levels of the different microphones. And then you have all these options of when the volume gets over a certain threshold, then cut to this particular angle, hold for this long, don't let other things steal it for X number of seconds. And I got it to cut between these two, and then let's see, somewhere in here, there's like a wide shot too. So that was one of the tricks is I want it to also cut back to this wide shot sometimes. And this was one of my feature requests to Adam, and he was like, no, I can't do it. And I managed to work around it, and I think it actually worked pretty well. So, you know, what you would, how you would expect this to work is like if 2 people are talking at the same time, or like, you know, as soon as you're doing that transition of one person starts talking over the other person, then you would want that wide shot. And that is not possible to do in MixEffect. But instead, what I was able to do was kind of work around it by actually using a gap in sound. So if I turn this on, let me see if I can find, hopefully these are still here. Yeah, so if the audio levels drop below 36 decibels, then change the wide shot, and there is a 2-second hold. So it'll always hold 2 seconds on that. Even if somebody else's microphone starts talking in, it'll be fixed on this shot. And that, between that and then this one is the 2 close-ups, This is if the audio level is greater than 15, which is actually pretty loud. So it'll, you have to be talking confidently in order for it to actually trigger that. Then it will, and it's a shorter sample size on that too. So it'll be a quicker transition. Cut to camera 2, hold that for 3 seconds. And that worked really well. The other secret here is you may notice that the microphone that we're using is the Tula microphones, and there's no wires, which is one of the reasons I wanted this. I like the sound of the Tula microphones, and they record internally and they're battery powered. So there's no wires coming off of this microphone. And I kind of like that. It's kind of weird, right? It's like, wait, how does it work? So both microphones are recording internally, and I sync it up in post, which is easy to do. So how is the ATEM getting the audio? So we're actually both wearing a DJI microphone, and the DJI mic receiver is plugged into the ATEM. And I didn't use that audio for the podcast. It was only for the auto switching. So auto switching is using the audio off of what we're wearing, the lav mics, and then the audio that you're hearing is from these, which are quite a lot nicer than the DJI microphones, actually. So that was fun. That was fun. And yes, if you're interested in learning about solar panels, I walked through the whole decision process of how we're picking panels. So that was the latest episode. I will grab this latest episode link to throw into the chat also. So auto switching looked great. I'm glad to hear it. It's like the hired 3 camera people to run the show. Yeah, love it. It was fun. How well does the video follow audio work if you talk over each other? So basically it's the rule is like, if this microphone gets above a certain level, switch to this camera. If this microphone gets above a certain level, switch to this camera. But then there's the other setting in there is these hold and repeat delay. So seconds to hold. So if you do 3 seconds and you imagine we're both talking, one of them is going to trigger first, right? And then for 3 seconds, nothing else happens. Nothing else can happen. And then after the 3 seconds, whoever happens to be louder at that point will steal the camera. So that's why I wanted a rule, which is, if both microphones are over a certain amount, cut to the wide shot, which I can't get apparently. But the workaround of looking for the gaps where we both stopped talking for a split second was enough to get a wide shot happening often enough that I was pretty happy with it. So but yeah, that if you're both talking over each other, it'll basically flip back and forth between these close-ups, which honestly works fine. It's not wrong either, right? It's all artistic choice in the end. On the new house file set, the framed house mock-ups in the background look very cool. Awesome, glad to hear it. I actually put those pictures up there just for fun, just to have them there, but I think it's great in the background. I do need to update them because they're actually an older version of the plans now. That was the old model before we changed a bunch of the windows. We had to shrink a bunch of windows. Anyway, that's going to be a different episode. Don't have that episode out yet. Are you able to bump up the record quality to HyperDeck High in the ATEM Mini SDI for 4 ISO and still streaming from the 4ME? Yeah, so actually you may have seen it. There's a slight bug, which I need to track down with Blackmagic still. Here it is. I'm really annoyed about this, but look in this corner here, there's these little pixels artifacts, and watch they move. So it's like an encoding bug with the MPEG encoding. And then there'll be a keyframe and it'll clear up for a second. And it doesn't always happen. It's like only in certain colors. See how it's not here? And it'll like come back. There it is again. But it's like, it's just something about the color, and I've seen it's happened at on my gray wall here as well. I don't understand what it is, and I'm going to go back and forth with Blackmagic about it a bit. I need to change something and give them more information to the support person right now. But it only happens on the streaming high setting, not on the HyperDeck high. So at least there's that. So apparently I'm gonna, in the meantime, switch to recording on HyperDeck high. Koala, thank you for the super source. Thank you for the super chat. Okay, we're coming up on the end of the time. I want to make sure I don't forget anything that I wanted to get to today. So, we need to talk about the winners of the contest. And I wanted to show you some more. Let's do a quick demo of the green screen again. Because I want to show, I made a little bit of progress over the last week, since last week's demo. So we're going to use this little, this is the reason I have this head. I'm going to pull that up. And we need to fix the lighting to get this to work. What I learned after a little bit of playing around after last week was the green that I had is too dark, and I need to better light it and make it brighter. So that's what we're going to try to do right now. We're missing a bunch of lights here, of course. I got my floor light, which is actually a blue light, so I need to change that back to white. So we're first going to do that. And that's way too warm, so let's give it a nice cool white. Okay. And now we're missing a bunch of light on the top. So I'm going to go turn on, I do have a remote for that one. We are going to turn that one on. And this is much closer to what the brightness that we need. The other thing that I want to do is I want to adjust the exposure of this camera. So normally I have it on like a pretty low ISO. And what I'm going to do instead is bump up my ISO quite a lot to make this background brighter. And then we're just going to have to light this mannequin head properly. So if I turn on the table light to what I normally have it as, it's way too bright. And actually, we're going to leave that one off and use the one that I can remote control. I really need to consolidate my lights. So if I go back to this light, even this one is way too bright. So what I need to do is actually make this. So notice how I'm changing the light on the mannequin head, and it's not adjusting, mostly not adjusting the color of the green. And that's the first important part. I need to be able to light the background separately from the talent. So we're going to go and scale that way down. And this, I am 95% sure is already going to give us a better result than last week's. So last week it looked more like, let me bump the ISO back down. It looked more like that, and then I had a brighter light, right? But that green isn't quite green enough. So we're going to change the exposure on the camera and then drop the light on the talent. Okay. So with that, let's switch to this layout and switch over to the Ultimatte. And let's reset reset everything. Reset. Okay. So frankly, already it's doing a lot better. Here is the final key. And this is with like, without changing anything. This is just like defaults now. This is already a lot better, right? So we can now clean this up and we should be able to do even better than before. Now I'm gonna have to remember all of the different settings here. So, so veil is an important one. This is gonna help us get the fringes a little better. You can see my hand poking through there. So veil. Oh, I already had it set. Okay, so what we're gonna do is, can you see it here? Yeah. So as I adjust the veil, it's bringing some of the background back. Oh, that reminds me. I need to actually first do this. Where did it go? Not screen sample. It was the, oh my God, remind me where it was. It was the screen capture. This is gonna give us a clean snapshot of the background, but I have to move her out of the way first. So if we turn this off, see how it's messy? So we're gonna screen capture the blank screen and then screen correct it. And this is now already quite a bit better. Yeah. Little bit of fuzzies around the edge. So we're gonna go to the veil and change this until I need a better, where is it? I need a bigger view of this to see what I'm doing. Yeah, you can see how it's, that middle one is the mask that it's doing. But if we go down too far, it kind of takes out too much of the fringes. But let's take a look at that. Yeah, that's pretty good. So check this out. That's pretty good. Yeah. Sorry to mess up your hair. That's pretty impressive. So I think the answer is all in the lighting, really. So that's what I learned, was really about that exposure. So making the background green just bright enough that, and the foreground lighting different enough so that I can properly light her without adjusting the background. So it's always in the lighting. Exactly. Helga Ultimatte. Okay, I think you all just named her. Yes, I think you all just named her Helga. I'm gonna have nightmares tonight. Don't name it. That's how horror movies start. Yep. Yeah, the hair strands do look great. So, very cool. Actually, it'd be interesting to see is, now that I've got a better, thanks, Graham. That was literally the next thing I was going to say. Can you compare this with the green screen of the ATEM Mini? Now that I have a much better lighting for this, let's see what the ATEM Mini does with this. So to do that, how am I going to do that? We need to feed a bunch of sources into the ATEM Mini. So let's go to the, let's use the ISO for that. We've got the camera, ISO 2. I guess we only need one source for that. We need a background. That's what it is. So I don't know what I guess it's just me, my logo. So let's go over to that one, SDI, and we'll set the program to the media player. I need to show you the output of that. So let's use MixEffect to make that scene really quick. I think I have enough time to do this. The box 3 is on, and it's going to be, I think I have it fed back in. Yeah, ATEM SDI. There it is. Oh, it's multiview right now. Let's make my computer screen smaller. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to make the computer screen smaller. We're going to get me out of the way and bring this one over here and get rid of the crop. And then we're going to change the output to program. Okay, so upstream key 1, which is where the chroma key is going to be camera 1. Okay. I have no idea what state this is in. Apparently not a very good one. Let's turn it off and do a chroma sample. So let's sample the green from about the middle. Okay, let's see if that helped. It did help quite a bit. We need to crop, which is this, nope, 12, 10, there we go. Get rid of those. Definitely a lot of fringing going on. Let's see if we can fix some of that. And we should be able to do better. So foreground, background, that's too much. Key edge, that's taking away too much. So let's bring some of that back. Ooh, definitely a little bit tough down with the dark. That part. That's a little bit tough for it. Oh, maybe this flare suppression will help with that, actually. Oh, that's too much. Making it too purple. Spill. Spill helps with the color, but doesn't help with the edge. Can't quite get it. Not as good. Not as good. And I think I'm out of options. I can adjust the brightness, but I don't really care about that. It's cool that you can change the contrast though. That's not helping with the chroma. It's also cool that you can just make yourself grayscale. Yeah. Going too far in the background is not working. Yeah, no, not as good. It's pretty good, frankly. It's pretty good, but definitely not as good. But it is a lot cheaper in the ATEM Mini. Pretty good though. And again, I think that lighting was the key, because if I go back to the other lighting, where I have the exposure of the camera down, but then this lighting up, now it's like more muddy around the edges, right? So same lighting situation. We want to do, yeah, pretty good. But yeah, the Ultimatte is, of course, way better. Definitely way better. I should be able to come into this shot too, right? I'm in the dark part of the green screen. Yeah, this is, I'm not lit as well as she is for some reason. I think because she's more pink. Pretty good though. Yeah, fun. Where was I? Okay. It's doing a great job with the glasses. Yeah, it does. It's amazing. I think you've convinced me to buy a green screen to play with. Let me find the link to that one. I got it a long time ago, but I do like that it just collapses into the floor. Here it is. Elgato Green Screen. There we go. Elgato Ultimatte is the perfect name. Okay. So we need to wrap this up. Oh yeah, Graham. One of the advantages of being nearly balls out, I don't need to worry about the flare around my head. Yeah, it's funny. Even this hair is a little bit fluffy, and you can tell the edges. You are running out of time for the contest winners. So let's see, how are we going to do this? We are going to, there were a bunch of really good entries. So the bunch of really good entries, we can go through them really quick. Let me make sure I don't have too many extra tabs open. There were a bunch of great entries, so thank you all for doing that. Go back to SuperSource. The I don't have photos up yet of the coverly covers on here, but I will add that at some point. But yeah, let's take a look at some of the photos. Very nice Yolobox rig. I like the microphone on the side of the camera, because I feel like that's a classic problem, is just attaching all the things to here. So this is and a light up on top of the camera too. Notice the little ball head to give this little flexibility, because you sometimes want the camera down if you're looking at the screen straight ahead. So that works out very well. Very nice. Here is from Randy. He's got one of the custom nameplates. It looks like in Tech Condo purple, with the iPad and a monitor mounted on top of the ATEM Mini Extreme. Super cool, super good. This one is from Jules. That is quite a setup. That is a nice collection of gear. Let's see, what do we got? Big keyboard, Stream Deck. Is that one of David Joshua Ford's profiles? I feel like I recognize those colors. Yolobox, easy access to the Yolobox on the front, because it's a touchscreen device, of course, so you have to be poking it all the time. And then ATEM Mini up there. Rodecaster Pro, is that the 2? I can't remember if that's the 2. That looks like the 2. And laptop, Sony camera, Rode microphone, key light. This is great. This is another microphone over there. Super good. Love it. Another big audio mixer. I don't even know what that is. That looks like a very expensive audio mixer. Tiny ATEM Mini over in the corner. It looks so small compared to the audio mixer. This is great. Yep. All sorts of fun stuff going on. From Noel Del Pilar. Fantastic photo. I like how crazy these Xsun things look. And we had another photo from Noel of an ATEM version of a rig. I love the lighting of these shots. And 2 monitors, and I like the little, this feels excessive, but I feel like it works in this photo. Putting the wireless mic receiver on a cold shoe on a small rig flexible head on top of the bar, but it looks good. It kind of looks like a little character, like a little robot. And from Dell MixEdit, very, very nice photo. I even tweeted that. Looks so good. So how are we going to dish these out? We've got, let's put on some tunes. Is that going? Too quiet for me. It is going. So the contest was about sharing your rigs, but also about taking an amazing photo. And that is why the grand prize winner is Dell MixEdit. I love this photo. It's fantastic. I like your logo in the background. I like the moodiness of it. It's just great. So congratulations. Also, this logo is going to look very good on top of printed on one of these covers. So congratulations. And we have 2 runners up for the prizes as well. And that is Noel Del Pilar and Randy. So that is these 2. Another amazing photo, and ATEM Mini rig to put the cover on, as well as Randy's setup will look great with a cover. So congratulations. Thank you all for playing. That was a lot of fun. Thanks, I'm not even a photographer. Well, you've got a good eye for it, because yeah, great photo. Fantastic. Okay, that is a wrap for today. We're gonna head over and redirect over to Lily's stream in a minute. Looks like she is just about ready to go. Checked on her multi-view here, and looks like she's got the overhead camera set up again. At some point, I'm gonna have to do a tour of that studio at home, because there's I had to rearrange everything yesterday because of all the moving around of things we've been doing, but it's working. It's looking good. So we're gonna head over there. You should get redirected when this stream ends. As always, thank you for all the super chats. And thanks for tuning in every week. Thanks for your questions. Sorry I didn't get to everything, but how it goes sometimes. We'll be back same time, same place next week. Bring more questions, and we will see you then. Have a great rest of the week.